Omalara's eyes fluttered open, the fluorescent above her desk piercing through her skull like knives. She rubbed her temples trying to ward off the impending headache. Another day, another task, and another pain to endure. Her secretary Mrs. Adeyemi walked in with a concerned expression. "Ma'am, didn't you want me follow up on the Smith account a few days ago?" Omalara's mind went blank. The Smith account. What was that again? She couldn't remember. "Oh, I don't recall," she stammered. Mrs. Adeyemi's expression deepened. "Are you okay, ma'am? You have been a bit distracted lately." Omalara rubbed her temples, feeling a familiar ache creeping in. She was always tired, always dizzy, and the headaches were relentless. She had been popping painkillers like candy, but they barely touched the pain. "I'm fine, just a bit overwhelmed," she lied. As Mrs. Adeyemi left, Omalara felt a wave of frustration wash over her. What's happening to her? Why couldn't she focus? And why did she keep forgetting things? Omalara's phone buzzed, jolting her back to reality. A message from her doctor's office. "Please come in for your test results." Her heart sunk. What if she was terribly ill? Shaking her head, she pushed the thought aside, focusing on the files on her desk. She had to get through them today no matter what. Finally, she was done with all her tasks for the day, but it was already 8 p.m. She packed up her things and walked out of her office. Looking at the empire she had built with her very own hands, she knew she was supposed to be happy and proud of herself. After all, she was the CEO of Laura Glow, one of the top cosmetics brands in Nigeria, but yet the only emotions she had ever known was pain and depression. The huge mansion felt more like a nightmare than paradise to her. As she lay on the massive bed after freshening up and putting on her pajama, she began to ask herself questions she couldn't find the answers to. "I have money, fame, and everything I have ever wanted, but why do I still feel like this?" The next morning came faster than she had expected. Getting ready for work, she couldn't help but feel extremely weak. She was almost used to this feeling. Her phone rang loudly. It was an unknown number, but she answered the call. "Omalara, my daughter, please." She didn't wait to hear the rest. She hung up almost immediately after recognizing the voice of the caller. It was her father, Lonra, who has been calling her with different numbers for the past few months. She didn't know how he got her number, but she always hung up after hearing his voice. She didn't turn her back on her family, but they had long casted her aside. Her parents, Lonra and Omolabai, waited for many years before they were blessed with twins. Her father preferred Ton because he was a boy and neglected Omalora, saying she was worthless and useless because she was a girl. Even her mother was not there for her, always leaving the house for different parties, most especially the ones she was never invited to. Omalora grew up on her own, even though she had parents, learning different things on her own and trying to prove her worth to her father, but he was blinded. He never acknowledged her, not even once. At 16, Omalora won a scholarship to a private university in Abuja, but her father had already arranged her marriage with his friend's son. She couldn't throw away her dreams just to please her father. She made the decision to run away from home. Her father disowned her in front of the entire community when he found out she had run away. Now, after 10 good years, he is calling her his daughter. Now he is trying to step into her life again because she's wealthy and famous. He wants to eat the fruit of the labor he never worked for. As Omalora walked down the stairs, she couldn't hold down the tears anymore as they flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. She had promised herself never to cry again, only to be strong, and with determination in her eyes she wiped away her tears. Her phone rang again, ready to confront and insult the very same man she was supposed to honor. She picked up the phone without looking at the caller's ID. "What do you want? I thought I was useless and worthless to you, so why are you calling me?" she yells aggressively. "I'm sorry. But am I speaking to Miss Laura Lonra?" The soft and pitched voice that sounded nothing like neither of her parents could be heard from the other side of the phone. Omalora, shocked, she stares back at her phone to find Dr. Adesewa boldly writing on her screen. "I'm so sorry. Doctor, or yes, you are talking to Miss Laura," Omalora said with a pleading voice out of embarrassment. The doctor sighs and speaks. "Please come over to the hospital." Omolara cuts in and she replies, I would create time to come to the hospital before the end of the month. I have a busy schedule right now, Miss Laura. Come to see me in my office. There is something I need to discuss with you and it can't not be postponed. Miss Adesewa hung up. Omolara began to worry, wondering why the doctor wanted her to come to the hospital immediately. The black SUV parked outside of the hospital as the driver ran out to open the door for Omolara. Omolara steps out looking confident, bold and strong as ever. Omolara had always stood out. Her beauty, character, figure and intellects had always been admired by many. Despite how she felt in her body, Omolara managed to catwalk elegantly into the building. Few minutes later, Omolara could not believe her eyes. She felt they were lying to her, her heart completely broken. With a shaking voice she asked for the 100th time, "What did you just say? I don't understand." Dr. Adesewa looks at Omolara directly in the eyes with pity. She says, "You have brain tumor and you need to go for a surgery, but there is about 80% chance you will not make it." Every other thing said right after that went on deaf ears as Omolara was so lost in her thoughts that even the doctor's voice could not bring her back to reality. She felt her heart break in a million dazzling pieces. She didn't want to believe it, but the symptoms she had been feeling for the past few months were enough evidence to prove the doctor's words were true. "You will have to prepare for a surgery as soon as possible." Those words kept ringing in Omolara's head as she sat in her car with the test results in her hands and tears rolling down her eyes. She didn't bother going to work anymore. She sat on the floor of her room crying her heart out. It was as if her life had ended. To her, she would not make it through the surgery. She asked herself, "Why me? Why don't I ever get to be happy? Why always me? Don't I deserve anything other than pain?" But as usual, there were never answers to her questions. As the days go by, Omolara accepted the fate she thought was death. She didn't tell anyone of her condition because she never had anyone, not even a friend. But there was that one time she had friend. Chidra, Omolara's best friend from when she was very young. Chidra and Omolara were almost inseparable. At the age of 12 they were almost like twins, doing everything together. Omolara trusted and loved Chidra because she felt Chidra was the family she never had. Even as close and alike as they were quite different from each other. Omolara was very smart and intelligent, but Chidra was the opposite. Chidra's mother always compared Chidra to Omolara and had always treated Omolara with love and care. Eventually this made Chidra jealous because Omolara was always admired by everyone who could see her talent. Chidra's jealousy grew into hatred as she could no longer stand Omolara's face. Omolara didn't know that the person she trusted the most would be the one to betray her. Chidra could no longer hide it, so she began spreading rumors of Omolara having an affair with a class teacher. When that was not enough, she ganged up with other students and bullied Omolara constantly. They made school an even worse nightmare than home to Omolara. Omolara couldn't believe that Chidra would do that to her. She was hurt deeply. Because of this, Omolara never gave any person that came in a form of a friend a chance into her life. Not wanting to be hurt all over again, she created boundaries as years goes by. But now she wished she had a friend or even anyone she could confide in. "You want to do what?" Barrister Beamide asked, looking closely at Omolara. He had been working for Omolara for as long as Laura Glow had existed. He never really understood her, neither could he comprehend her, but this time he was more than shocked. Omolara sighed, standing up to explain further to him. Few weeks had passed since Dr. Adesewa broke the news of her health to her. And she had come to terms with it. She had prepared herself for the worst mentally and physically. Even planning her own funeral like she wanted to die. In my will, I want all of properties to be sold and given as charity to orphans, widows and other less privileged people. Omolara had always had a dream as a child. She wanted to help others so much. She wanted to open an orphanage home, a place where fatherless children would grow in love and joy. But she somehow never had time to make that dream come true, more like she forgot about the dream. But now that she was going to die, she wanted that little lost dream of hers to come true. Barrister Beamide tried to talk her out of it, but Omolara had made up her mind and there was no turning back. That same day her secretary Mrs. Adeyemi brought some files Omolara needed to sign. She had been absent from work for weeks. As Omolara worked on her laptop, Mrs. Adeyemi wanted to ask questions but she feared she was not in the position to, so she kept her mouth shut.